What would I change about Furina's weapon if I could? I mean, listen. Don't ask me what I would change about a 5-star weapon, because I would remove every 5-star weapon from the game. And remove the weapon banner altogether. Found for everyone? Yes! If you lower the difference in personal damage between the best available weapon and Fav, then it'll make Fav better. Could Furina use Marechaussee instead of Golden Troupe? So, Marechaussee only procs when you're on field. You can't proc Marechaussee off field, right? Because it doesn't say you can. And usually when it doesn't say this can be procced off field, it can't be procced off field. Which means Marechaussee is only going to be alright on Furina if you're spending field time on her. Like you're on-fielding Furina, which is not really going to happen unless you have C6. So, not really. I wouldn't recommend it. What artifact substats to preform for Furina? HP crit for main stats on Golden Troupe. And substats just crit, HP percent, and ER. To be fair, Hydro Goblet is also fine. It is going to depend on situations. You know, there's actually something I want to talk about for Furina that I think a lot of people are forgetting. Or, like, not thinking about that much. Furina teams will be dangerous to play. And what I mean by that is, in most Furina teams, a decent amount of your team will not be anywhere close to max HP for a significant portion of your rotation. Yeah, now you're playing with a healer and maybe even a better healer. But trust me, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to struggle less with healing. When you look at characters like Jean, by the end of your rotation, your carry's back to 50% HP. Even when you use characters like Mika or Baiju that heal the active party member a bit more, whenever you swap to another character, they're gonna be at 50% health. I think that's something that a lot of people are missing. And I've seen a lot of people talk about just phasing Xingqiu out of double Hydro teams altogether. And like, there's gonna be situations where that's gonna be a thing for sure. But you go from being full health and having almost 50% damage reduction, so basically being at twice your full health, to being at 50% HP. You're 4 times, effectively, you're kind of just 4 times less tanky. That doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna die, but it is something to keep in mind with her teams. It's something you're sacrificing with her HP drain. HuTao needing C1 is the biggest lie I've ever come across, and I will never change my stance on this. I play on iPad, I have a C0 Dragon's Bane HuTao who clears Abyss in less than a minute. Just admit that you have insane skill issue. I mean, she doesn't need C1. Her C1 is good, though. And I would argue, I've played C1 HuTao teams without Xingqiu, and I do not enjoy them. And yes, it is skill issue, but I don't care. That doesn't make it less true. I think with Xingqiu, I'm 100% with you. The C1, in terms of how it feels to play, doesn't actually make that big of a difference. But without Xingqiu, being unable to dash, being unable to dodge, without damage resistance, means that you're it's gonna be a lot easier to die, basically. Right, because HuTao charge attack costs, what, 25, right? So if you do 8 and 2C, you're consuming 200 stamina out of 240. That means you have 2 dashes over your rotation, and that's it. And that's what, if you start with full stamina, which a lot of people don't, because they end up dashing while they're on their supports. So one thing that I think a lot of people don't know about is... Let me just consume my... Right? It slows at it fills back up at a certain rate, but whenever you use some stamina, it pauses for a bit before it starts going up again. Which means that if, while you're not on HuTao, you dash, if you dash while you're on Xingqiu to cancel your E, for example, it pauses your stamina regeneration. And it very easily can mean that your combos are gonna start being stamina negative. You have to make sure you don't dash too much on the rest of your team when you're playing HuTao at C0. Not just on HuTao. And if you do dash on the rest of your team, it means you're going to lose a lot of damage. And that's not necessarily that big of a deal, right? Like, doing 6 and 2C into a few normal attacks isn't a massive DPS loss versus 8 and 2C. But it's something that is at the very least very felt. Like you feel it when it happens. Did I see the Charlotte nerf? Yeah, I saw the Charlotte nerf. It's fucking Jover. Thank God I didn't tell my editors to do the pre-release, because honestly, I don't think I will do a pre-release for her anymore. I have given up, man. Fucking hell. Why? Why did they do this? Why do they have to do this? What was a nerf? So, before, right, she has a tap E and a hold E. The tap E generates 3 particles, the hold E generates 5 particles. But in order to do the hold E, you have to, like, do this and then wait for the camera to focus. And it takes, like, a few seconds. Which is really not good. So you don't really want to do it. However, if you do this and then immediately release it, you won't get the normal hold E effect, but you would get 5 particles. They removed that. So now you can't short hold for particles. Which makes your particle generation in most teams a lot worse. Wondering if there's any chance of Battle Pass tier list you made when 4.0 release? Any changes, you mean? Oh. I don't remember what I said in 4.0, but I can give you a quick rundown of my current thoughts on the Battle Pass weapons. Talking Stick still sucks. Sacrificial Jade is quite good on Neuvillette. Scion of the Blazing Sun is, yeah. It's a fine weapon at high refine, but you need high refine for it to actually be a significant upgrade over the other options. And it's like, do you really want to spend multiple battle passes refining this? I don't know. Up to you, I guess. Wolfang is pretty good on some characters. Or like it's pretty good on Alhaitham, for example. Is Xingqiu's damage reduction limited to a certain amount of hits? Yes, if you use E. No, if you use burst. So you get at a baseline 3 sword at C1 plus 4 swords. And when your burst isn't active, a hit will consume a sword. But when your burst is active, your swords will not get consumed. I hate this game! I love this game!